Yesterday here on 100.1 Moose FM. Chris Walker with you. The Commonwealth Comedy Tour coming to town. Geez, guys, is it really this Saturday? It's this weekend. You can get your tickets now at chancescasinofsj.com. I'm lucky enough to have the Three Musketeers here with me. I've got Lindsay Webb, Chris Franklin, and Lars Caliu. Am I saying it right, Lars?
Yeah, sure. That's good.
Yeah, close enough. Close enough. I'm sure it's been butchered every single way it could possibly be. Where do we want to start, gents? I feel like we should call Lars home. Lars, this is kind of a bit of a reunion for you coming back to town and hosting a comedy tour. Tell me a bit about it.
Yeah, well, I was born in Fort St. John. I don't know if everybody knows, but anybody with the last name Kellio, usually from up there, or Charlie Lake, Fort Nelson. And I think I might have mentioned this last time, but I had an idea. For any of the teachers or administration front office people who work for the Robert Ogilvie School, I'm going to offer them free tickets because that was my great-grandfather. So if you're one of those teachers or if you work at that school, send me a message on Instagram at extra Lars, EXTRA Lars, and I'll take care of some tickets for you.
I love that, but for a couple of reasons. Nobody has ever gotten into comedy. Nobody's ever gotten into radio without talks too much being written on their report cards. So like it just kind of makes sense for me that those are the people that led you there. That's really cool. Not just Lars here with me, though. We also have Lindsay. Let's go to you next, man. I mean, when we're talking about a guy who's from the other side of the world, sometimes we mean Florida, other times we mean England, but like you've got to go. Like you're from way out there, the outback itself. What was growing up in Australia like, and how did you get into comedy?
Well, I a sheep and cattle ranch in the high country down in the southern part of Australia, North Canberra. And I got talking to animals. They were quite receptive. And then when I was about 9, I moved to Brisbane to live with my cousin because I had aspiration actor. So obviously I worked hospitality for years and started out a basic acting career and worked in a theatre restaurant. Literally just fell into comedy while I was working at a theatre restaurant. I gave it a go and I just was hooked from the first time I tried comedy. I was like, this is really what I want to do. And I'm fortunate enough to still be doing it 26 years later, all the way across the world. I'm literally from the future. So
it's one of those things. Why didn't you warn us about the pandemic, man? What the hell? No, I'm joking. We're not even going to bring that up.
It wasn't enough time. I was like,
that's what it was. There we go. And finally, do we have the third musketeer, Chris? Is Chris Franklin still around?
I'm still here.
Yeah, I kind of thought. Now, Chris, I've got to tell you, whenever we go into one of these interviews with big stars, you've got to do a bit of research here. When it comes to Australian musicians, you're bigger than Air Supply, prettier than Kylie Minogue. Like, tell me a bit about how you got in. Tell me a bit about how you got into comedy and how all three of you managed to come up to northern BC.
Well, in 1989. I went to a bar and got drunk, and I've just found out now from you for the first time that I'm a comedian. So I'll go there sooner or later.
And when it comes to your comedy roots, though, in all seriousness, you've got we went looking for some of your stand-up and found 24 albums. It must be a dozen or so music videos, and these things are freaking hilarious. As a guy from the East Coast, who like some of the slang might be slightly different, but some of the tales are very similar. Tell me a bit about that. I mean, how big of a musical personality are you down in Australia?
It's a little bit crazy. Probably there wouldn't be too many Australians that don't know my most popular song, but they could know my name. Like I was called and met Australians and said, I'm friends with Chris Franklin, and they've gone, who? And he says, do you know the bloke song? And they say, yes, of course I do, sort of thing. And he said, well, that's Chris Franklin. So yeah, the song's more famous than I am.
We were watching again different interviews. You've been in the business now for 30-ish years.
27, yeah.
It's got to feel like yesterday for you. You know what I mean? I look back at my quick 10-year radio career and go, there's no way it's been that long. But I mean, for you now being able to travel internationally, now coming up to little old Fort St. John with the help of Leanne. She specifically asked me to name drop her, by the way. That's why I'm throwing that out there. With the help of Leanne and Chance's Casino. I mean, what's it like just getting a little start as a musical comedian and now just being this much larger figurehead for Australian comedy?
First of all, I've got to say hi to Leanne myself. I so the last.
We're paying her.
Year
She's paying us by the name drop. So if you guys want to keep going, I think that's like 400 she owes us now. So yeah, by all means.
Yeah, Leanne. They had my birthday last year, and Leanne spoiled up there. We had birthday cakes, we had a lot of beer, and I don't remember a lot of it.
Good man. Leanne treated you guys well. I mean, Lars, let's come back to you for a quick second here. Yeah. See, 7. I'm losing track. Somebody's out there with a calculator, one of our number crunchers, I'm sure. Lars, what are you hoping to see from locals? What are you hoping to get from locals when you come back? Besides a warm reception and a filled house, obviously. Tell me a bit about what people can expect from your routine when you get back here and what they're paying to see.
Well, first of all, I want to say we're at the Moose FM studio in Hinton. If you guys are wondering where we're broadcasting from, this is the Moose FM.
That's just a bar, isn't it?
It looks a lot like an A&W.
Yeah, we're branching out. We're
like
a little bit of
A&W.
everything here, man.
This green room is amazing, by the way. Frozen root beer. Well, here's the thing. This is a triple headliner show, and I put this tour together. I picked a couple of my favorite headliners from Australia, and I brought them on tour. The show Saturday will be our final show in Canada after a 5-week tour. So the guys are dialed in. Everything is firing on all cylinders, and you're going to see them at their finest. And we're excited about the show. I mean, I met Leanne in 2002.
That's nice.
And from the very beginning, I didn't have any trouble remembering her name because Leanne was the name of my favorite aunt. If you're, from Fort St. John, Fort Nelson, anywhere in the Peace region, you'll know Leanne. I mean, Leanne really is somebody who.
Are we saying that right? Is it Leanne? Is that right?
I believe
Leanne.
So. Yeah.
I think that's,
Hard L.
Anyway,
Leanne. Yeah.
Truthfully, I want my any relatives of the Fells or Kellyos. I want them at the show because there's 500 relatives in that region. I would love to sell it out with just family. And as I mentioned, the teachers from Robert Ogilvie School, you're coming for free. If you work at that school, you're coming for free. If you're my cousin or second cousin or third cousin, tickets are regular price. So
if you're related on my wife's side, it's a great deal. Buy one, get one at double cost. Yeah, absolutely. Lars, you guys are about to wrap up your Canadian leg of the tour. Tell me a bit about Canada that you love and how, I mean, obviously it's different from Australia in literally every way, but like, what are a couple of your favorite differences? What are a couple of things that you love about it?
Well, I'll tell you what, we just finished about 3 or 4 hours of driving through the Rockies, and this sort of sums it up. But what it was, this place makes postcards look terrible.
That's a great way of putting it.
It is just beautiful. We went to Lake Louise, and I don't know who designed that, but they should get a gold star. It's just a really beautiful country. The areas, the people are really friendly. They're very kind. I've had an absolutely wonderful time. It's been a really nice time.
And I guess, Chris, we'll finish off with you, man. When you come up here to Fort St. John, what kind of party are you bringing? What kind of stories are you going to tell? And I guess more importantly, me and you, we're going to sit down. We're going to have a couple of cold ones. What kind of nonsense are we going to carry on with?
I'm very good. I just found out we're only going to have a couple of cold ones.
When I say a couple, I mean a couple like 100 ounces, like none of this 1 or 2 small ones. Yeah. The normal East Coast versus Australian drinking.
I think the biggest question is, will Leanne be there?
I don't know. That's a good question. Leanne, if we can get you to call 787-2222, you have an outstanding bill. Now, Chris, what can people expect from your show? Are you bringing the guitar, or are you just bringing your good looks and charm?
No, it's predominantly stand-up comedy. There will be the one song in there, the bigger hit I have. But as you mentioned earlier, with the Australian song, I have to spend about 4 seconds explaining what it's about.
Yeah, there's no subtitles in the live show, right? Like we can't, no live translating. Well, gentlemen,
and for the listeners, sorry, I'll finish up real quick. Google the song Bloke, B-L-O-K-E, Bloke. That's the song you'll be looking for. Chris hasn't named the song. Look up Bloke. It's super famous. It's crazy famous in Australia. So.
Chris has, like I said, about a dozen videos on YouTube, all of them fantastic, but not just Chris. Lars, Lindsay, guys, we look forward so much to having you here in Fort St. John, especially at Chances FSJ. That's the exact website you can go to buy your tickets, chancesfsj.com, and I could tell you Leanne would be very happy. Am I right, gentlemen?
Yeah.
Chris, bye, Leanne.
Leanne's the best.
Leanne is the best. Guys, thanks again. It's been an absolute pleasure. Can't wait to see you this weekend.
Thanks.